silliness of them and lets us know how silly we're being. George Carlin I can't do it.
What's your keyword?
Oh, I have one. I know all of this about George Carlin because I have been a fan of his for 11 years. I own his box set of 14 HBO special stand-up DVDs, his final book that was published in 2009 called George Carlin's Last Words, and I have seen him live in November of 2003 at the CenturyLink Arena. I'm a big fan of his and love his word for how original and raw it is. To quote George Carlin from Jay Dixon's last interview with George Carlin, one of the bogus terms which is so repellent to me, thinking outside of the box. To settle for that kind of language is embarrassing, but that's a very useful picture. I try to come in through the side door, the side window, to come in from a direction the audience is not expecting. End quote. Today I'm going to explain to you what makes up George Carlin's comedy and what makes up George Carlin's comedy. And it's a basic three-part system. George Carlin believed that to be a comedian, you have to be born into it. You have to have the genetics to be funny and to love words and to be a comedian. You have to be, or he also enhanced his comedy with philosophy. And then popularized his comedy through vulgarity. I'm going to go in depth on all of these, and so you can better understand his comedy and perhaps become more Carlin-esque. To begin, I'm going to start talking about genetics, which is where we all start. To quote George Carlin from his last interview with Jay Dixon, quote, "The Irish say, you don't lick it off a rock, kid." George Carlin is referring to his love of words and how you don't just learn this kind of thing from school. George was born into it. He was born on May 12, 1937, from his mother who had a love of words, and his father, who was a renowned after-dinner speaker and ad salesman in New York in the 1930s, who lovingly helped create Carlin in 1936. Carlin's which is right there where he was conceived, just so you know. Carlin attended Corpus Christi Catholic School for his early years, which is where he began his class clowning. In 1953, Carlin graduated 8th grade, and his mother gifted him a tape recorder, which was his first tape recorder he's ever owned, and they were very rare then. He must have seen this as a foot in the door because he dropped out of school and took his class clowning to the neighborhoods of New York. His favorite thing to do was impersonate authority figures, not because he didn't have a distaste for authority figures, he had a genuine hatred for them. Carlin, to quote Carlin, all right, so now I'm going to talk about the philosopher Carlin, who is quite popular. He has a quote that says, "These are the things I think about when I'm at home alone and the lights go out," end quote. George Carlin never wanted to make people think about anything. He wanted people to know that he was thinking, which was mentioned in his last interview with Jay Dixit. And so now that I have let you know that Carlin's comedy has been made up of how he was made, enhanced with philosophy and popularized by vulgarity, which was an FCC thing in 1978 and changed media forever. I just want you to know that you can be funny too. George Carlin said, "I like to spin out of here like one of those subatomic particles that they can't put a finger on." So, Bonan should be funny. The end. That was so hard. He's scared.
Yeah, I want to check on the,
I can start setting up if you
oh
want.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Please feel free.
All right.
I wanted to give up.
No,